Tensions were high in the Mughal camp on receiving the news of Nadir Shah's approaching army, late on the 12th of February 1739. The Mughal Emperor Muhammad Shah was getting restless. Suddenly, to everyone's relief, Saadat Khan arrived from Awadh just before midnight. After making a name for himself, Nadir Shah ascended the Persian throne in 1736, taking advantage of the political turmoil at the time. His foremost action was to consolidate the borders of his vast empire and to decimate the Afghans, who were the principal enemies of the Persians at the time. By early 1737 he had laid siege at the Afghan center of power at Kandahar, which lasted almost a year, during which he sent envoys to the Mughals at Delhi to recognize his authority in Persia and not to allow any fleeing Afghans into their territories. By this time Mughals were a shadow of their past, weakened after years of conflict with Marathas and internal strife, accompanied by short reigns of successive weak rulers. Mughal emperor at the time, Muhammad Shah, being an incompetent ruler, wielded very little power, which was entirely in the hands of his officers. Ultimately, the Mughals did not comply with requests of the Persians. It is not known whether Nadir Shah had already decided to march against the Mughals or he made that decision after the failure of diplomatic ties, but he set out against them in May 1738. Ghazni, Kabul, Peshawar, and Lahore were all conquered by mid-January 1739. For months, Mughals had taken the threat of an invasion lightly and not taken necessary steps to reinforce their frontiers. But once the confrontation became imminent, the emperor called in Nizam from Hyderabad to guide them in battle, but he was not given the ultimate authority. Help was also sought from the Rajputs as well as the Marathas, but none was received. At last, Mughals marched to confront the Persians in January, but on receiving the news of sack of Lahore, they decided to encamp at Karnal. Nadir left Lahore on 26 January and started marching towards Karnal. Mughals had chosen a defensive position on a plain just north to Karnal, with a thick forest to the north of it and Canal of Ali Murd Khan to its east. This position was well defended with heavy artillery, and the enemy had only two options: either to attack from the west and face guns, or to attack from the east, where there was a vast plain between the canal and the river suitable for the cavalry maneuvers. Nadir had sent an advanced party to harass and scout the Mughals, and on learning their position he decided not to attack them directly. He took a wide detour towards the east along the river Jamna. His plan was to cut off the Mughal lines of communications with Delhi by threatening to take Panipat, thus drawing the Mughals out of their fortified positions to battle in a place of his choosing. And if they did not, then the Mughals would remain shut off at Karnal, while the Persians could march unopposed to Delhi. Persians reached near the Mughal camp before sunrise on 12 February and encamped to the northeast of Karnal. The same night Saadat Khan reached to the aid of the Mughal emperor with 30,000 men. Persians had already sent skirmishers to harass the stragglers, and the bloodbath continued through the night. The Mughal planned to fight 2 days later, but the Persians moved out of their camp and arrayed in battle formation on the very next day. Mughals discussed going to battle and decided against it, but Saadat Khan had lost many men, camels and provisions on the previous night, and hence he wanted to avenge his loss. So he ventured out around noon with 5,000 men, ignoring the imperial orders. He fell upon the Persian skirmishers who feigned retreat, forcing him to give chase. He sent couriers asking for reinforcements, for which Khan Doran was sent with some 8,000 men. But Saadat Khan was drawn into an ambush before the reinforcements could arrive. His men were shot at point-blank range by the guns of the Persians, and soon they were routed, and Saadat Khan was taken captive. Similar fate awaited Khan Doran, and he was drawn into an ambush too. However, he took a longer stance. The fighting here continued for 2 hours, but they had no answer to the Persian guns and were routed, with Khan Doran being mortally injured. The Persians had used guns in close range which created havoc, The elephants were countered by the use of lighting fire on a wooden plank which was tied to 2 camels. The battle was over in less than 3 hours. The Mughals did not send any more reinforcements for the fear of losing more men. Around 8,000 were dead on the Mughal side, while the Persians lost 2,000 men. The Mughal camp kept vigil at night, wary of further attacks. But apart from a few raids on the peripheries of the Mughal camp, which continued for days, no major attack happened. The Persians had decided to engage in negotiations for a war ransom rather than to engage in battle. Persians and Mughals spent the next few days negotiating the terms and the amount of indemnity to be paid by the Mughals. At first the amount was set at 50 lakh rupees. At the same time the blockade of the Mughal camp and raids on it continued. The Mughals slowly went out of supplies and fleeing from Kurnool was difficult as the Persian cavalry was patrolling the roads out of Kurnool. Amidst all the despair, the Nizam was taken prisoner when he visited the Persian camp for further negotiations on the 22nd, and a letter was sent to the Mughal emperor with the demand for indemnity now upped by multiple folds to 20 crores. This was probably done on the advice of Saadat Khan, who would have wanted better prospects for himself. Muhammad Shah was baffled at this new demand, but could not do much regarding it as his camp was in a severe shortage of food, and his most trusted and powerful man, Nizam, was now under arrest at the Persian camp. His only discourse was to keep the negotiations going. Under these unfavorable conditions and knowing well his fate, he went to the Nadir's camp on the latter's invitation on the 24th, where he was also placed under arrest. Nadir Shah along with Muhammad Shah reached Delhi on the 9th of March 1739, where Nadir was hosted royally at the imperial fort. Soon common people of Delhi rioted against the Persians and killed around 3,000 Persian soldiers in a single night. Nadir took severe steps to stop the riots, with more than 20,000 people dying in the ensuing massacre. After quashing the riots, Nadir Shah started extraction of the hefty ransom. All the Mughal officials as well as the citizens of Delhi were audited and money, jewelry, precious ornaments were taken from them. Non-payment led to tortures and barbaric killings. Furthermore, Mughals promised 20 lakh rupees annually, and the regions west of Indus were transferred to the Persians. It is said that an amount of more than 70 crores was taken by the Persian monarch from Delhi, which comprised of cash, gold and silver coins, precious gems, jewelry, including the famous Kohinoor diamond and peacock throne of Shah Jahan. In addition to these 300 elephants, 10,000 horses and same number of camels were also taken away. The bounty extracted was so huge that entire Persian kingdom's revenue was remitted for 3 years. Thus laden with the plundered wealth of Delhi, Nadir left on 5th of May 1739. The Mughals, who had already been weakened considerably much before Nadir's invasion, lost any residual powers that they had, with the Marathas gaining massively at their expense. The power vacuum in the north enabled later invasions by Ahmad Shah Abdali. We are working on bringing many more such stories to you in the future. Subscribe to our channel to not miss out on them. And consider liking and commenting on this video. Until next time.